Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that I'm nearing the end of my deep dive into the Lenormand system. The system that was originated in Germany under the name of the Game of Hope when translated into English, and then took on the name of Lenormand when they exported the cards to France, and they added the name of Madame Lenormand to increase sales. And it worked because I can get this deck anywhere around the world, right? I can get it here in Korea, I can get it in the United States, I can get them in Europe, I can get a deck everywhere. And it's a fairly popular system. And I highly recommend, if you have not already dived into this system, and you are a tarot reader, that you do so, because I've found that my abilities and my ways of reading tarot have expanded, increased, matured even, through my work with this system. So I highly recommend it. And I hope that you have enjoyed walking with me through this journey through the system, watching me stumble along the way, because your presence here while I work through the system has been of great benefit to me, and I'm very grateful for you being here. And I'm also grateful for those other things that you do, for hitting the thumbs up button, for subscribing. Those of you who comment in the comment section, thank you very much for doing all of those things. You are a blessing to all of us. And friends, I've got a new deck all lined up for us. I've got the spread that I was using last lunar cycle, I'm using for this lunar cycle. So strap in, friends, because I'm going to show you this spread and this deck right now. Here it is. Friends, what do you think of the deck I used for this spread? Now, the spread is, for me, I call it a star spread because that's the way it looks. Other people call it a 13 card spread, the Council of 13. There are other names, but for me, this is and will always be the star spread. And the deck. Now, what do you think of the cards? Do you like them? Do you think the design is beautiful? I am really glad I have this deck for several reasons. It is the Silson Lenormand by Maupertuis, the creators of the Tildwick Tarot. The Tildwick Tarot was a deck that was briefly in print and then went out of print for a long time, and a lot of people were trying to get a hold of copies of it, and it's been through a couple of iterations. There's a 10th edition of that tarot deck, which is in pre-order status, I think, right now. Just so you know, there will be a link to the site for Maupertuis in the description box below. So if you want to get this deck, or you want to get any of their other creations, they've got great decks. Now, as far as this Lenormand deck, of their Lenormand decks, this was the one that I was the most interested in, and like I said, I'm very glad I've got it. I love that there are playing card inserts on the cards. I love that the cards are on the smaller side. Yeah, they're smaller than for example, the Lenormand de la Luna, which I got from Robert M. Place. The cardstock is not as good as, I'm sorry, not Robert M. Place, that I got from Patrick Valenza, Deviant Moon. The cardstock is not as good as the Lenormand de la Luna, just saying, but the size is smaller, just a smidge smaller, which I like. There are a few problems, I think, with the images on a couple of the cards. Especially one that, and I'm going to say it's a problem because you can't see what it is quickly. And when you've got the entire deck of 36 laid out, you want to be able to pick out each one of the symbols very quickly, just by scanning with your eyes, like a quick scan across the whole layout. And there are a couple of cards in the deck that are problematic when it comes to that. And I'll point to at least one of them Actually, probably two of them while we read this spread, because at least two of them are here, right in front of our faces. But aside from that, okay, so I also think the titles of this deck are in Latin, that's fine. I don't mind that. And I'm not a Latin scholar, I'm not a Latin expert, but I do think there are a couple of mistakes with the Latin in this deck. I think. I might be wrong, but I think. So, yes, what are we going to do? What I'm going to do is I am going to tell you how we read this spread first, and then I am going to show you the spread again, and we will start reading the spread together. But first, let me tell you, how do we read this star spread? The card in the center is the significator. Now, some people, and myself included, when I'm reading for a client, and I know what the concern or the issue is for that client, I will decide on a significator card, and I will shuffle that into the deck, and then I will look for the significator card, and then I will choose the 12 cards after that to create this 13 card spread. I did not do that this time. What I did this time was I let the deck pick the significator and the rest of the cards for us. So the card in the center is the significator. And then with the two cards on top tell us what our attention is directed towards, what's on our mind. The two cards below are what we are standing on and or what is the basis for the situation. The two cards to the left give us what's coming from the recent past. The two cards to the right tell us where we're going, what's in the near future. And then we have a card for the past influences up here, and then the results or the outcomes. And then down here we have the unconscious motivations and the result of those. So that's how we're going to read this spread. And that's how we're going to go. So, friends, let me show you the spread once more. Maybe you've got all of that information stored in your head and you can place the parts of the spread onto the spread as you look at it. And then we'll start reading together. Are you all ready, friends? Here is the spread once more. So, friends, you saw the card in the center, right? What is that card? It's the man card. Yes? And like I said, I did not deliberately choose this to be the significator card, and yet the deck offered it up as the significator. And because I read this spread for all of us through me, this is our collective significator card. So whether you're a male person, a female person, a trans person, a cis person, an intersex person, it doesn't matter. Because we're reading through me for all of us. This is the significator card, and that is what the deck offered up for the significator, which I thought was really, really interesting. And it's the reason why I called this video, before even reading the spread, It's All About You. Just like it's all about me. It's all about us. This spread. And this is a lovely significator card, right? I mean, I love the parchment background. I love the Roman numerals. That's not a problem for me to read. And the Latin here is correct. It's vir, man, right? Lovely, lovely card. Easy to see. Now, some of these cards, again, are not easy to see, and we'll get to them. But that is the significator for our spread, which is interesting. So it's us. Not much more to say about that. Now, before I read the rest of the spread, I like to get a general feeling for which end of the spectrum this spread leans towards. Does it lean towards the positive or the negative? So we start off at the top with the star, a positive card. Yes? The whip is neutral negative, which was down here in the row right below it, the whip. The letter is neutral. The book is neutral negative as well. We'll get to that a little bit later. Why is that negative? Well, it just is. The snake card, which is in the next row down from left to right, the snake is neutral negative. We've got 3 neutral negatives. The mice is negative, which knocks off that positive card with the stars. Yeah. The tree is neutral positive, so that knocks off one of the neutral negatives. Yeah. The bear is neutral. The key is positive, so we got that. But the cross is negative, so that knocks that one off. Yeah. Crossroads are neutral. And the coffin is neutral negative. So we've got 3 neutral negative points left over when adding and subtracting positives and negatives. So this is a fairly negative spread. And it's not negative because it's all about you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this spread, while it does have some points of light, including that star card, leans towards the cautionary tale, towards the negative. Yeah? So we had, again, that, I'm not going to put it back up there, but the man at the center. We are at the center of this spread. And remember, each week I ask, how can we live our lives more intentionally in the coming week? And why would the answer be negative? Well, because if we're not aware of the pitfalls that are right in front of us, we're going to trip on them. If we know that they're there, we can perhaps find a way around them. Yeah? So, we'll start off with what is on our mind. And the first thing that's on our mind here is the star card. Yeah? Now this card, I told you that some of the cards are difficult, I think, to read. This isn't quite that. Now, I would like it better if there were one or a couple of just really big stars in the center of the card, but we've got a bunch of stars up there in the sky in this card, so it's not all that difficult. The card title is Stelle, which means star. We've got what looks like a king down below, sitting perhaps outside of the wall of a city, which is interesting, I guess. But we don't really read that king or the wall of the city. We just read the star. And what is a star? A star is a light in the sky, right? And there are a bunch of them up in the sky. Especially at the time of the printing of this deck, when there were not electric lights all over the planet, we could see the stars at night, especially if there were not a lot of clouds. So stars were easy, they were visible, they were ways for us to guide ourselves, especially if we're on a ship. Yeah, we guide ourselves by the stars. If we are interested in astrology, we guide our lives by the stars, and we get information about where we are and where we're going as far as our life path as well from the stars. So we've got all of that wrapped up into this star card. Again, a lovely card. So what does that mean for us? What's on our mind? What we are thinking about is direction, right? The star card is for, it could be spirituality, it could be psychic energy, but the card is also for destiny, for guidance, for prophecy even, for dreams coming true, wishing upon a star. It's the card for good fortune, for being the star even. In the modern context, being the star, being the center of the story, which we all are. We are all the center of each one of our stories. We can't help but be anything other than that. We can only perceive the physical plane through the focus and the lens of self. So we are all self-centered. In the strictest sense of the word, we cannot be anything other than self-centered. It doesn't matter how much we love each other people, how much we want to help other people, how generous we are always self-centered, because this is where our perception lies, and this is where perception projects from. We are the center of our stories. We are the star of our stories. And it doesn't matter whether the story is a bright, shining story of hope or a dark, depressing story of lack and powerlessness. We're still the star of our story. Can we agree with that? So, for this spread, we see that our mind is on our being the star of our story, the star of our spread, and wanting guidance. Our mind is on guidance and finding direction and finding out where we are going and where we want to go and where we are supposed to go. Now, we could open up and fill ourselves with love and follow that love, carrying us with the power of intention in that direction, but it doesn't seem like that's where we are right now. Now, we're looking for destiny, we're looking for our guidance, we're looking for direction. What kind of direction are we looking for? We're looking for it in this letter card. Now, here the letter card, what do we see? We see the number, it's pretty easy to see, it's 27, right? Do you see a letter here? Okay, we've got birds, probably pigeons, carrier pigeons, maybe. We've got a large walled off city. We've got a guy walking outside of the city, and maybe you can see that guy has a letter in his hand, but I swear to God, if you've got all 36 cards out on the table, and you're trying quickly to find the letter, unless you really know this deck this is going to be a difficult card to find. Yeah, it does say epistula, which means letter in Latin, on the card, which is great, but it's not an easy card to see. And when I look at a Lenormand deck, I really want to see that image, the central symbol, big, bold, right there in the center. Because we don't read the guy walking, we don't read the birds, we read the letter. And what is a letter? A letter is a message, right, from one person generally to one other person. It's a one-to-one. Whereas a book is from one person to hundreds or to thousands of people, maybe even millions in the modern era. The letter is generally from one person to another. Yes, there are group letters. There are newsletters from one person to several people or hundreds of people. But the basic meaning of this letter is from one person to another, right? It's written communication. And in the modern era, that could take many forms. It could be a traditional letter. It could be a greeting card. But it could also be a text message or an email. It could be a document or a contract. It could be any of those things, right? But what does that mean in relationship to what's on our minds? Are we thinking about contracts? Are we thinking about documents? I don't think so. I think we want our star, right? Our direction, our guidance, our prophecy even, to be written down, concrete, immutable, there for us to look at and see that's right. We don't want I have this feeling that this is what I could do or what might be beneficial. I've got this intuitive hit that this would be nice or this would be not so nice. right? We don't want that ephemeral kind of message. We want it down in writing. Does that make sense? Have you felt that? Have you felt, okay, yes, I want guidance, I want some information, but I want it clear. I want it so I can see it definitively, definitely. Have you ever felt that? Have you been feeling that now? It's very possible that you have. And if so, this is the spread for you. Now, let's look at what's below us. What are we standing on? What's the foundation? The first card of this foundation is this card, the cross. And you see there, we've got the very Christian crucifix with the figure of Jesus there. We've even got the INRI there, Jesu Nazaria Rex Judeorum, above the figure of the Christ on the cross. The Latin crux, all very clear. And what is that? Remember, this deck was created in a very Christian context. And so the cross is the symbol of the torture, the burden, and the death of the man-God. It's also the portal into new life and to resurrection. Without the death on the cross, the Christ could not have been reborn and resurrected, right? So it's all of those things. There's also a fatedness, right? The Christ was fated, was destined to die so that he could be reborn, could be resurrected. So we're standing on this foundation of, and maybe this is the reason why we want our guidance to be written down, we're standing on a foundation of feeling burdened. Our fate is doesn't feel very pleasant right now. Yeah? Now there's a spiritual meaning to this card as well. There's the suffering God, the God who takes away our sins. Yeah? But I think we're standing on the foundation of our feeling burdened by our fate. And when we look at the cross directionally, there is that burden there. But those things that are above it are uplifted. They're pushed up. They are promoted by destiny. And so we are being promoted by destiny, even though we're standing on the feeling of this burden, we are being uplifted by it. So it could be that the burden is what has caused us to mature, to grow, while we are still looking for that written information about what am I supposed to do? Yeah? And that cross is standing on the coffin. Now, this is the second problematic card, I think, in this deck. The title here is, it looks like it says locus. And I don't think that's right. What do we see here? Do you see a coffin? I see a wheelbarrow. I see a cart. To me, it looks like this guy is tending his fields as a farmer. It doesn't look like a coffin to me. But it is card number 8, which is the coffin card. And what is a coffin? It's something that boxes us up, right? It's something that we put the dead body in to bury in the ground. We use it, we store the body so that we can mourn the dead person in the body, and then we, as quickly as we can, get it into the ground so that it will not create health hazards to the living. Right? Decomposing bodies are not healthful for us. So, we put them in the ground. So what is the coffin? The coffin is endings. It's finishes. It's the losses that we feel and the mourning about those things. The mourning, not night mourning, but the grief mourning, right? For some people, it can be renewal, because, of course, death and resurrection, yeah, and the cross is above the coffin. So even though we've felt burdened and unto perhaps death, and that's what we're standing on, there is the potential and the possibility of renewal and rebirth here as well. And the cross above the coffin, because the coffin is below, we have the endings being depressed, being burdened by the cross. So the cross pushes the coffin down. So that ending is heavier. It's more definitive. It's more finished, if you will. And we're standing on top of that, but it's still there and it's still heavy for us, I believe. Now let's look at the past. Now the past starts off with this snake card. What is a snake? Snakes are very complex creatures. Now, at the time of the creation of this deck, the snake was the snake from the Garden of Eden, which is the betrayer, right? The liar, the one that gets Eve to eat of the apple and give the apple to Adam, right? Deception, the great lie. But we also know that snakes are, even deeper in our tradition, the creature of knowledge, of transformation. They are a creature of winding paths, yes? And here you can see the creature, the snake, very clear snake. It says serpens, which is, I think, correct. Being very windy, it looks like a windy path. This could be a card for, if you're talking about electronics, the actual physical electronic wiring in your computer or your home. Just saying, that can be read that way. I don't think that's what we're looking at here. What we're looking at here is, because we're looking at this spread fairly negatively, yeah, and the next card is also fairly negative, we've got the idea of deception and betrayal in our past. Maybe we've been lied to. Maybe we've been deceived. Maybe somebody has pulled the wool over our eyes. Maybe someone has been tempting us in the past and tempting us off course. Or maybe we've been... Okay, let's allow us to move this card into the more neutral space of windy paths. Yeah? So, remember that we've been reading this spread for the last little more than a month. And this windy path, remember we started off with the child, and then we got the stork, something new, something taking off, something growing. And we're coming out of that past, and maybe it's not going as quickly as we'd like. Maybe it's not going as directly as we would like it would be. Maybe the path has been very windy and confusing and uncertain. And there have been endings in the past as well. Remember, we're standing on the burden of endings here in the middle. So we're coming from a past of our paths being windy, taking time, and it being indirect. And then the next card, this mice card. I generally would rather have a bunch of mice facing in one direction, either left or right. Here, most of the mice seem to be pointing up. So the mouths would be above and the butts are below, which is important because I read the card directionally. So instead of reading the mouth and the butt side to side, I guess I will have to read this card vertically, which is interesting. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is the correct translation. Mures for... No, I think, yeah, no, that is correct. So, very easy card to read. What are mice? Now, they are creatures that come in and eat our resources, not like a fox will come in and take a whole chicken or a whole hen away from us. The mice come in and they steal our food little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit, right? They bring pestilence as well. They bring disease. So this card seems to be pointing us towards what? Towards losing, undermining, worries and problems, theft perhaps. And if we had, so if in your past you've had somebody, recent past, a liar, a deceiver, maybe that deceiver has stolen from you. Maybe. I think generally for most of us, we're not looking at that. We're looking at this windy path that is taking time. It's indirect, and so we are losing our momentum. We are losing our feeling of direction. We're feeling like this new thing that has been growing for us is being undermined by the time it's taking and the uncertainty we're feeling. Does that make sense for you? Yeah? And so we move towards what? What's in our near future? The first card we see is this wonderful tree card, right? It says Arvor. I think that might be the correct pronunciation, but I think the correct spelling should be Arvor with a B. Just saying. But it's the tree card, right? It's number 5. And what is a tree? It's something that is strong, it's healthy, it provides health, it provides shade for us, it protects us from the sun when it's a hot sunny day. It provides food for us if it's a fruit-bearing or a nut-bearing tree. And it grows slowly, right? And it has roots, just like we have roots. And I don't mean roots in the ground for us, I mean roots as in time and family, yeah? So, the tree is a card of what? Lovely tree card, very easy to see. Life, health, also tradition, yeah? Ancestry. Something that grows slowly, yeah? It could be the outdoors, trees grow outside. The outdoors, it could be the environment. But it's also a card for our health and our well-being. Some people read this card negatively. I do not. Unless there's something eating away at the health. For example, if the mice were right next to this card, I would say that something is eating away at our health perhaps and our vitality. That's not what we see here. Yeah, we see slow growth, we see well-being, we see health and life. So that's what we're moving towards, something positive, I think. Which is strengthened by this next card being the bear. And what is a bear? The bear is the card of strength in the Lenormand. Yeah, the bear is at the top of the food chain. It is powerful. It is protective. It protects its young. It also sleeps during the winter. Yeah, so it knows when to rest. It knows when to be active. Yeah, it knows how to get food. It doesn't go out and attack for the sake of attacking. It attacks creatures generally very low on the food chain to provide itself with nutrition, and it also eats berries. It also eats plant life. It's an omnivore, whereas a lion is a carnivore and will attack for food, but it doesn't go to the lowest of the low on the food chain. It attacks big things that live around it, right? The bear will go out and eat fish. The bear will go out and eat berries and nuts. If you believe Winnie the Pooh, honey. This is kind of a kooky bear image to me, personally. I needed to get used to this bear image. The first thing I thought when I saw this bear was the mice. I thought that was a mouse card. A mouse with a baby mouse. But you look at the number, you know it's not the mice. It's card number 15. Ursa is the title. Means bear, yes. Could be the bear constellation in the sky if that means anything to you. Ursa Major, yeah, or minor. So the bear is our strength. The bear is being supportive. The bear is, could be a supervisor. It could be a boss. It could be calm and inner strength as well. So this paired with the tree, what I get from both of these together, we're moving into a time of our own well-being and increased strength and increased power and increased calm. But that's not where we are now, right? Right now it seems like we're standing in insecurity. We're standing in feeling burdened and weighed down and endings and not knowing where to go and wanting to know where to go and wanting that information to be clear, precise. Just tell me what to do. Have you felt like that? Do you feel like that now? But we have hope on the horizon, so that's good. Now let's look at our recent past. Yeah, our recent past starts with this whip card, right? The whip, what is a whip? The whip is what we use to get people and animals to do what we want them to do. It's also a tool that we use to punish, especially humans. Yeah, we whip people, we flog people with whips. And it's a very clear whip card. And it says flagellum on it, which I think is correct. So what are we talking about here? The whip, traditionally for Lenormand, is it's power struggles, it is arguments, it's tongue lashings, so arguments. It's can also be addictions for some people. Now we've got the jack here. We've got a jack of spades, which means it could be a young male person who is either a lawyer or a younger student who is harsh-tongued and will say whatever they think they should say or whatever they want to say, damn the consequences. So if you've got somebody like that in your recent past, it could be indicating that person. But what I see for us is that we've had some struggles. We've had some maybe arguments with other people in the recent past. Yeah? Now the card could also be repetitive actions like exercise even, or cleaning house. In some decks, this isn't the whip, this is the broom. So it can be those things as well. But I think for us, we've got this argumentative struggle in our recent past. And it could be an internal struggle. We could be arguing with ourselves, which would lead us to pretty easily to this next card, which is okay, so should be the crossroads. What we see here is a maze, right? This is a labyrinth, actually. I think this is the Chartres labyrinth. The title of the card is Vide, which it should be VA, but it looks like a D, not an A, just saying. It should be VA, I guess, to be roads. But instead of roads, we've got a labyrinth, which implies to me confusion, not choices. But we're going to read it as the crossroads card anyways, which means what? It means choices. It means making decisions. So the struggle, the arguments we've had either internally or with other people have led us to need to make decisions, to make choices, and those choices need to be now, not in the future, not, okay, I'll weigh my options. This is not the weighing your options and make a decision later card. It's the decide now. Waiting on your decision is just going to make things more difficult. That's what we're moving into. We're moving into a space of needing to make a decision in the here and now. And that could be actually here now, or it could be in the very near future. But when that choice comes, we need to make the decision and be prepared to make that decision. Does that make sense? What are you going to choose? And the choosing is the most important. Rather than figuring out which is the right choice, choosing is going to be the most important. Now let's look at what's going on unconsciously. And we start off with a very positive card, this key card, right? And we can read the key directionally, which is why I would generally like to see the key facing left to right. Because for the key, what is to the left is what is locked down, and what is to the right is what is unlocked. And here what seems to be unlocked is the burden or the fate of the cross card. But the key is a positive card, yes? It's a card for what? Something that we open up our box of jewels and treasure. It's the thing that opens the book if you've got a locked book. It's the thing that gives us success and certainty and answers. The yes, yeah. Unconsciously, we've got the answers. We've got success down here. We've got that. It will be this way information in us. Right? And so we want to have the confidence that we will find what we need. We want to have the confidence that we have the resources and that what we need to do and what we need to find is out there, and we will find it and we will be able to do it. And that points us to the extension or the outcome of what's our inner motivations of success and having the knowledge and certainty. Leads us to the book card. And what is a book? We haven't seen this card for a while. What is a book? At the time of the creation of this deck, books were not the reliquaries, the storehouses of information that was not accessible to a lot of people. Now, there was not a high literacy rate at the time of the creation of this deck. I mean the original Lenormand, not this particular deck here. So books are the holders of secrets for many people, traditionally. And I generally like to see a book where we see the binding on one side and the open pages on the other, because the side where the open pages are points to the things that we can discover, and the side where the binding of the book is points to things that we are not going to be able to really find out. So in Lenormand, the book is the card for secrets. Yeah, things that are not shown yet. They're also the card of knowledge. So if the snake and the book were together, I might be more inclined to read the snake as knowledge in combination with the book, right? Something being closed. It could also be the book of study. I'm sorry, the card of study. Yeah, the book, we study books. We learn from books. And so, what do I see here in the book? As the outcome of the key, I see that the inner information will be revealed. And we may be asked to do some study around that information. But the information that we will need to make the choices is going to be there. And it might come up from within. Or the key from within might unlock the information that is in our environment. But still, the information is going to be accessible to us because we hold the key within. So we got to find a way to trust that, to know that we have the answers here. Because again, it's all about you. It's all about me. That information is here. Even though we feel weighed down, we feel like we're standing on our own burdens and we want direction, but it doesn't seem clear. We've got the answers, the key to the answers here. And we might be unlocking a book outside in the environment or unlocking the book of our hearts. Would have been nice to have a heart card out here too. But we've got it there. We're moving into our well-being, which is great. So we're moving into a feeling of positivity in the near future, but right now apparently we're not feeling it. Does that make sense for you? So friends, we're going to do something else now. I'm going to read the blocks of cards above, to the sides, and below. Yeah, the 4 cards above will give us a little bit more information about what's on our minds. The 4 cards below are going to give us more information about what's happening below the surface. The 4 cards to the left are going to give us a little more information about what we're moving out of, and the 4 cards to the right are going to give us a little bit more information about where we're going. Does that make sense? So let me show you the spread once more. Take a look, see what you see, and then let's read those 4 blocks together. Here's the spread once more. Friends, where do you want to start? Let me see, what do I feel? I feel we want to start with what's on your mind. Yeah, that's going to be the most, I think, positive aspect. Well, no, actually the future is going to be a little bit more positive. Anyway, so what's on our minds? So we start off with that star card above, right? Our destiny, our direction, that's what's on our minds. Yeah, and it's supported by what? It's supported by the whip. Now here we're going to read the whip a little bit differently because we're reading it as the basis for our direction and our good fortune and our dreams coming true, hopefully. That's what's on our mind. And so what we're thinking about is the repetitive actions that we've been doing. Yeah, it could be exercise, but I think it's the routines that we've been focusing on. Our day-to-day work, that is, cook the food, wash the dishes, clean the house, go to work. Now, it's not the work card, but it's the routine of going to work, of taking care of the minutia of the day. That leads us to what? It leads us to the letter. Yeah, that we're getting messages. We want to get messages. We want to get information about our direction, about where to go, through our daily experience and through the daily activities that we do. And we want that to lead us to the opening of the secret of what to do and where to go, right? Now remember, we were asked to think outside of the box, but right now it looks like where our heads are, our collective heads are, is, grammatically I think that is correct, but it sounds very strange. Where our heads are is, we're looking for direction, but we're looking for it within the confines of our daily routines. And demanding of the universe to provide the answers we're looking for, the secrets to be revealed from what we've been doing and what we continue to do day after day after day after day after day. That's where our head is. And maybe that's where our head should not be. Maybe our heads should be elsewhere. Maybe we should be thinking outside of the box instead of thinking about I've got to wake up, I got to go do this, I got to do that, I've got to do, you know? Does that make sense? So what is below the surface? Below the surface. We start off with the 3 cards leading down to the root of endings, but also things being boxed up. Yeah, we start off with the key. Great card. Yeah? We've got information here. We've got the yes card. Yes. And what is a yes? The yes is our burden. The yes is our feeling weighed down and the destiny of heaviness. And that destiny of heaviness, the things that are to the left of the cross, are the things that are stopped and are finished. And so the cross is the answer, the burden is the answer, and yet the cross itself stops the answer, blocks the answer. And the things to the right of the cross are strengthened. And the things to the right of the cross, the thing to the right of the cross is the crossroads. Choices. So we've got this answer in us, which is our burden. How could that be true? The burden that we feel is here for our learning, for our growth. We're to learn from this experience. So yes, the answer is the burden, but the burden also blocks the answer, leading us to the need for making a choice. Yeah, the crossroads. We've got to make a choice. We've got to decide something. We've got to make a decisive choice. I can't think of a good synonym for that. We've got to make a decisive choice. And that decisive choice leads to the ending of something. Right? The death of something. Something has got to give. Something has got to go. I think. Does that make sense? So now let's look at the past, which is here on the left. The past. We're coming from the snake. And the snake is I think we're still looking at this, the path not being direct, the path being indirect. And that's been, to use the metaphor of the snake that's in this card, has been biting us on the finger or in the butt. Yeah, it's bitten us. The lack of clear direction for where we want to go. And when we think what the kind of direction we want is a straight line. But the direction that we've gotten is a windy path. And that has been uncomfortable for us, to say the least. And that leads to what? It leads to the whip at the top. The whip being this sense of being whipped, right? If this isn't a comfortable feeling, we feel the struggle, we feel the pressure, we feel maybe we're giving ourselves a tongue lashing. Remember, the whip can be a tongue lashing card. Maybe we've been doing a lot of negative self-talk. Yeah? And that eats away at our feeling of what? The mice being the eating away of things, right? That eats away and dirties what is below, which is the answer. So we got this answer, but because the way to our evolution is not as direct as we think it should be, that is dirtying the answer that we hold within, the key that we hold within ourselves. And that's where we are coming from, yeah? We've got the key, but it's being dirtied by our belief that things should be other than the way that they are. Does that make sense to you? And we move into what? We move into this set of 4 cards, which is knowledge. And I think that's the direction we want to start off with this book card, not secrets so much, but knowledge and study. Yeah, we're moving into a time of understanding and growth of understanding, and perhaps the call to study some more, which leads to our development, our growth, our slow and steady growth, and our well-being. With roots in the crossroads, which means that with the roots in our need to make decisions, to make choices. Yeah, our growth in knowledge and our study helps our evolution and our growth over time with a root in making a decision. Those 3 cards, yeah? And that leads us to our embodying our strength, becoming strong. We will become stronger from these trials and the tribulations that we might be feeling right now. Now, this is, I won't say that that this has been a time that has been what? Given to us, or that we have been forced into the situation that we're in. I don't believe that we are given tasks to perform here in these beautiful, beautiful bodies that we are co-creating every moment of every day. We are not given tasks by some external power to perform now in these bodies. However, we do make choices, and those choices do have consequences. They do have results. we do have a purpose that we have chosen for ourselves in this life, and one of those purposes is happiness and joy. And love is another one. So, no one has made us come to where we are right now so that we will learn the lesson, but we are here because we have made choices in our lives, and those choices are, I'm not saying that those choices are wrong or bad, but they have brought us here, and here we are afforded the opportunity to learn and grow and develop and evolve. Because that is what living an intentional life is. It's a life of evolution to become the people who have the experiences that we want to have, that have the relationships that we want to have, that do the work that we want to do, that go on the trips that we want to go on, that create the environments that we want to experience. You know, we evolve into the people who experience all of those things. So it's a life of growth, and it's all about us. And the choices that we make, and the knowledge that we seek, and the knowledge that we have. So, what are we supposed to do? What do I see for us here in this spread? So it's a warning spread, right? It's a cautionary tale. And it's all about us and our expectations. We expect that the path before us should be and will be clear, straight, and direct from where we are to what we want to experience. That is not only our hope and our wish, but our expectation, and we are generally very attached to those expectations. Even though our experience of life in the past and probably in the rest of our lives in these beautiful human bodies that we are co-creating will teach us, is that the path is not direct but rather windy. Yeah, there are turns and there are twists, and that is a good thing. The spread shows us that we have the answers within us. And we want to be able to allow ourselves to find our direction, even if it is not as clear as we would like it to be, even if the path is not as direct as we want it to be, even if we feel the burden of walking a long path. The walking of the path is going to increase our strength and our well-being. And we're going to be called to make a choice. But we'll have the knowledge, and the choice will increase our knowledge. The choice will open up perhaps more knowledge for us to assume, to absorb. And that's an intentional life. So the warning, I guess, is against being attached to ideas of direct paths and eternal natures of everything in our lives. The only eternity, the only eternal nature is us. The experiences, the paths, the things within this physical realm are not the eternal things. So we want to get rid of our attachments. We want to allow our attachments to dissolve. In addition to and including and perhaps especially the attachment to our path being direct. Because it's all about us. It's all about you. Now. Not the future, not the past, now. Facing the direction that we are going, and that direction is not going to be a direct one. And that's a good thing. Does that make sense? If it does, let me know in the comments below. If it does not, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? Does this reveal or does this echo or mirror any of your experiences now in the world? Let me know. And if you want a private reading from me, my website address and the QR code for that website address will appear right before your eyes. So friends, thank you. Thank you for joining me on this walk through this challenging spread. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.